Hello, everybody. I would like to introduce you to the backwards business plan. Now, this just isn't about just business. This can be applied to every area of your life and the legacy that you want to leave here. Now, a normal business model is a company's plan for how it will generate revenues and make a profit. Well, that's great. You know, it looks a little bit like this. It's very cash-centric. You know, you got your dollar signs, but most people that are watching a TED Talk already know that it's been scientifically proven that once you make a certain amount of money and your basic needs are met in life, once you make $100,000 more or $1 million more, it's not going to add any happiness or fulfillment to your life. So I would like to propose that it instead look a little more like this. That revenue and profit be actual people and souls and hearts, and that our main intention would be for the greatest common good and well-being of all. This is one of my favorite quotes. I had this on a little, post-it note in my post-it note sticky on my old apartment 15 years ago. Vocation is the place where our deep gladness meets the world's deep need. So good. So what is that for you? What makes you come alive? What injustice do you see in the world or in your community that you want to fight, that you think, I'm not okay with this, I want to do something about this? There's plenty of things to choose from right now in this day and age, unfortunately. Whether it be gun violence, shootings, and racism, and any harassment, gender equality, Me Too, suicide, depression, homelessness, foster care youth, health care, addiction, terrorism, recidivism, police brutality, affordable housing, sobriety, eating disorders, bullying, hunger, pollution, climate change, politics. There's so many things to get passionate about and to care about. Or maybe it's an injustice or a struggle that you have within yourself, that you think that maybe other people deal with that too. I had plenty of those things growing up, and one of the things that I was extra passionate about was the issue of homelessness, because I grew up in LA, and I was around so much money and privilege and power, and it felt so wrong that there were thousands of people living in tents, and it just was so sad to me that it felt like there was so much gold and potential inside of people that were just getting passed by all day long. I was not okay with it. So if you don't feel that passion, that's okay. Challenge yourself to feel that compassion and that empathy. I think it's so hard this day and age because our brains are so fried with technology and our phones all day long. We're looking at social media and these screens of people that we're not really making eye contact or slowing down enough to really think about and feel what other people are going through. So that's okay. Just, challenge yourself. Slow down. So I don't want this talk to be about the Giving Keys, because I already did a TEDx talk about the Giving Keys. So if you want the full story on how that started, you can watch that one. But I will do a speed race version for you guys, for those of you that don't know the story. So what the Giving Keys is, I'm gonna go like real quick. I'm gonna try to get it in like 30 seconds. So the Giving Keys, we are a social enterprise, and we employ people that are trying to transition out of homelessness to engrave old keys and different products with different inspiring words like hope, love, faith, dream, believe, inspire, fearless, breathe, let go, all those kind of words. And then you're supposed to embrace your word, own your word, but then you're supposed to pass it on to somebody you feel needs it more than you, and then tell that person they have to pass it on to somebody who needs it more than them. So it's a whole pay it forward movement. And the way it started was I was doing music full-time on tour, and I started paying a locksmith to engrave the words on keys because I needed all those words on those keys. So I thought maybe other people needed the words on the keys too. And then I started selling them on tour at the merchandise table with my CDs, and then the key necklaces started selling out more than my CDs. So I was like, okay, thank you, great. But I knew that it was really resonating with people, so I encouraged them to, embrace the word, then pass it on. Let's not just make this about us and the words that we need and what we need. No, keep your eyes open to all the needs you see around you so you can pass it on to somebody else who needs it more than you. And then people started writing me on MySpace, and they started saying, I just gave my key away to somebody who's about to commit suicide, etc. So I thought to myself, wow, I need to make a website to store all these stories so other people can read the stories too. And then I knew I wanted the money to go to charity and give back in some way. I waited for the missing link, and then I met a homeless couple on Hollywood Boulevard. They lived in a cardboard box in a dumpster. And I wasn't thinking about the giving keys at all. That was not my motive in any way, shape, or form. I just took them to dinner because they're humans, and I wanted to have conversation and share a meal together. And in the middle of that meal, I had my aha moment. I was like, oh, I should employ you guys to engrave the keys instead of the locksmith I was paying. And then little by little, they started saving up enough money, and then they got their own apartment. So it is possible. The backwards business plan is possible. So now we've been able to create over 80 jobs for people that are trying to transition out of homelessness and over 100,000 hours of work for people that are trying to transition out of homelessness. So that's a little backstory. I'm out of breath. Okay, so this is what a trade show looks like. So I used to do these almost 10 years ago, and we were really unique. Give back brands were more, unique at that time. But now they're so saturated because businesses have caught on that having a give back brand or a charitable aspect of your company actually does produce those dollar signs. It actually is profitable. But the problem is it's so saturated now that consumers can smell when you actually don't really care about the issue. So people always ask me, Caitlin, I want to start like a social enterprise. How do I start a social enterprise? I'm like, care about the issue first, get really passionate about it first, and then you can maybe build something around that, not the other way around. That's backwards. I think the backwards business plan is first all about meeting a need. Like at the Giving Keys, we were not taking resumes and fulfilling some chart or mobile or perfect, business plan. Let's fill these roles. No, we were meeting a need because Rob and Sarah, they were living on the streets and they needed a job because they needed food and they needed a home. And I think with any business, it's about how you make people feel, and not just a business, maybe you're a songwriter, maybe you're a doctor, or a stay-at-home mom, or a nurse, or a maid, or a hairstylist, or a TV executive, whatever it is. It's all about how you make somebody feel. Like Maya Angelou's famous quote, it's not about, people don't often remember what you said, but they always remember how you made them feel. And I think it's really all about empathy, but you have to feel it first so strongly so then it overflows so that other people can feel it also. Start small, start now, start with what you have. Don't wait until you have the end goal. Don't wait until you have, investors or, a partner. You think get all your ducks in a row. You don't have to wait. We are not promised tomorrow. I think one of the saddest things in the world is when people die with dreams inside of them, especially if it's a dream about helping one of those, social causes that I had up on the screen earlier. What if you think that you need to do all these things before you can get to it? No, start small. Everyone has a birthday, right? So start with your next birthday. Tell all your friends and your family to, instead of buying you gifts, maybe donate to this cause to aid in that issue that you're passionate about. Start now. Start with what you have. For instance, there's a new project that I've been wanting to work on, but I'm not a graphic designer, and so I didn't know how to do all of those tech thing. So instead, I went into my garage and I found old crusty paint from the neighbors that lived there before. And then I didn't have a paintbrush. So I found a scrap of wood on the floor. I don't even know what it was from. And then I took the scrap of wood and I dipped it in the old crusty paint. And then I drew some words on old computer paper. And then I asked a friend if they could scan it. And that's probably going to be our logo. So you can work with what you have. And same with the Giving Keys. When I started that, I was not a jewelry maker. I literally made the jewelry with my cuticle clippers and my tweezers. So no excuses. Peace-o-meter. So some people call this intuition, some people call it their gut, some people call it God, the universe, etc. But this is one of my favorite stories about my peace-o-meter. So I was at this church for the first time. I didn't know anybody, I didn't know the pastor, he didn't know me, and I just went by myself, and I was going through a really hard time because the Giving Keys, somebody had stolen thousands of dollars from us, and somebody, I had to call the police, and PayPal, they're like, you need to call the police, and it was crazy, and all my friends were saying that my life was like a CSI episode, and so I went into this church, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the sermon, Pastor Torrey Roberts stopped, and he said, I feel like there's somebody here that started a business, and you're in the middle of a storm right now, and you feel like maybe you need a partner to get you through that storm, but you don't. I feel like I'm supposed to tell you that God is going to get you through this storm. And I remember thinking, like, I feel like that's about me. I'm not sure, but I feel like maybe that's about me. My piece-o-meter was kind of going off, right? And then later that day, my ex-boyfriend came into town from New York, and he was a business guy, and he said, Caitlin, I've been thinking about it, and I want to propose $10,000 for us to be business partners. And I'll do the business side. I'll write the business plan, because you're kind of, Dennis the Menace when it comes to business. But you can do the creative side and the marketing side. What do you think? What do you say? And I was like, I have to say no, because the thing earlier in my piece-o-meter, and I just felt like he was talking about me. And now that you're actually offering exactly what he talked about, I definitely feel like it is about me. I have to say no. And thank God I did, because a few weeks later, we ended up doing a deal with this conference, and we ended up selling thousands of keys and literally made double the amount that he proposed. And thank God, because now I am married to somebody else with a baby. Thank God I'm not business partners with my ex-boyfriend. How horrible will that be? Jeez. Thank you, piece-o-meter. So now, especially if this is, about a social enterprise or give back brand or something you want to do in, the charitable realm, this is not about us helping them. Nobody wants a savior complex. No. We are all in this together. We all need each other in this thing called life. For instance, at the Giving Keys, so many people come into our office sometimes, and they're like, wow, it's so amazing what you guys do. And I'm like, no, we're all in this together. We all need each other. For instance, Robert, one of our employees, he was incarcerated most of his life, and he's in his 50s. And one Monday I said, how was your weekend? He said, oh, it was good. I went to Disneyland this weekend. I said, oh, wow, great. What was your favorite ride? He said, oh, no, I didn't go in. I just took the bus there, and then I looked at it from outside, and it was incredible. Wow. And then I took the bus back home. It was a great weekend. And I thought to myself, this is medicine for my soul. I needed to hear that. Wow, so many things that I take for granted and that we take for granted. Another day I asked him, how was your day? And he said, oh, yeah, it was great. I went to the DMV. And you know how everybody likes to complain about the DMV? Everyone's like, I went to the DMV today. It was so, it's like the thing to complain about. But Robert was like, yeah, I went to the DMV, and I waited in line for my ID. And I looked around, and I thought to myself, wow, this place is amazing. Again, medicine for my soul. And then Kelly and Nikki, they have gone through unspeakable things in their lives. They also, they're employees at the Giving Keys who have transitioned out of homelessness. And there were times when I went in there because I went into the office and I was having a hard day or week, and maybe I had a fight with my husband, and I was crying, and they gave me a hug that money could never buy. Those dollar signs from earlier could never compare. We don't need more heroes. We need more humans. I was on a flight a couple weeks ago to DC. I was speaking, and I was on the flight texting my husband, and I said, I feel like all this pressure to go and be inspiring to all these people, and I feel like I feel really weak. I feel really overwhelmed and weak. I feel like I don't have much left. And this is what he texted me. We don't need more heroes. We need more humans. And it gave me goosebumps, and I was like, wow, this is actually kind of what I'm wanting my TEDx talk to be about. So I really needed to hear that. So my call to action for you and for myself is this. Let's take the good, the bad, the ugly, our so-called flaws and insecurities and imperfections and triumphs, our talents, our failures, our mess-ups, our strengths, our gifts, our self-doubts, regrets, quirks, your stories, thinking you're not smart enough, good enough, educated enough, you're too young, you're too old, the wrong size, that you don't fit in a perfect, complete business plan box. Thank God you don't fit in a box. Your unique differentiating factor, your one-of-a-kind self. There will never be another you. There will never be another story like yours, your authentic story. That's what makes you special. So start small, start now. Look for the needs all around you. Slow down to feel it all. Challenge yourself to have empathy for yourself and others. And let all of that overflow and turn all of that into your art, into your backwards business plan, and the legacy that you want to leave here. You are qualified because you are human. So I'm going to sing you guys a song, and I would like you to sing along with me. The chorus is about passing on and on and on, whatever you want to pass on into the world. So think about what that is for you, whether it be those issues that I posted about earlier, Again, maybe an injustice that you have within yourself, something that you struggle with or go through. What you're passionate about, what do you want to pass on. So the chorus is going to be that I want you guys to sing with me. So practice now. I want you guys to be loud, okay? So practice now. The chorus goes on and on and on and on and on. On and on and on and on and on. Okay, that was good, but when I actually do it, it's got to be louder. Okay. So I actually wrote this song about the stories that I was reading about the Giving Keys being passed on and on into the world. But again, make this personal to you. So I'm going to point to you when it's time to, okay? I've been reading through your stories, the broken locks and doors we never thought would open up again. And I've been scrolling through the pages and picturing your faces. We are on our way to being strong, so pass it on. There's a baby barely breathing, and all her mother needs is a reason to get through another day. Someone's fighting to stay sober when a stranger out of nowhere gives him a little hope when his was gone, so pass it on. On and on and on and on and on. On and on and on and on and on. So I'm keeping my eyes open with every word unspoken, memories I just can't see beyond. No matter how you hurt now, every fire burns out, and even in the darkness there's a dawn, so pass it on. On and on and on and on. On and on and on and on and on. So I've been reading through your stories of failures and glories. You'll find you had it in you all along. Thank you guys so much.